So the first thing I'm going to do is open up the photo that I'm using for my background. I'm just opening up. I could have put it on a on a on an artboard, but the photo is big enough in itself. It just happens to be big enough in itself that I don't need to have any additional space. So that's perfect. This is it. This is essentially my canvas. And what I want to do first is add this photo of the professional basketball player. So for this one, I'm going to open the image as a layer. And we'll find that. There she is, Nia Coffey. Okay, so I did spend some time trying to find an image that would work pretty well with this. And the uniforms are already similar. If she's looking the right way, that kind of thing. She's got the right stance, so it works with it, and that helps. So you would obviously try to find images that went with each other. So now I need to crop Nia out of the background. So I'm going to turn off this picture and zoom in so that I can do that. And I don't know that anything special here is going to work. I might be able to get some of the color going with the magic wand, but it's unlikely that that's going to work very well because there's so many different colors. Um, I could probably grab the some of these things. So we'll just go for we'll see how far we get here. So I'm going to take the shift key and continue to add to my selection here. And yeah, maybe bump up the tolerance. So you can see it's picking some things that are not, but it's doing okay so far. It's doing okay. Control Z. So I don't know if I want to keep going, but that's that's decent uh, amount of selection. That's doing all right. Not bad. Not bad. Um, so what I am doing now is a technique that I've not shown you where I can add to my selection or subtract from my selection. So by clicking on either this eraser selection or the pencil selection, it allows me to add or subtract. So right now, because I'm on the pencil selection button, which is right beneath the magic wand, I'm going to add to my selection because, it was close, but it needed a little improvement. So and you can see it's essentially painting it pink. It shows you your selection with this pink color. So any parts that I missed, I can go in here and grab with this pencil selection. And I am going to very carefully try to get her hair. So this isn't a lot different than just using an eraser to deselect the background, which is an option, by the way. If I do that, if I come here and choose the eraser selection, then I can just simply erase anything that it over selected. So I know it over selected in there, and I believe it over selected down here. It over selected in here, yeah. So anywhere there is pink spilling out, you could just get rid of that. Back to my pencil selection, and I'll continue to add to my selection of her. And you can make this pick size smaller, of course. Come down to your brush control and make that not so big, so you can get into these smaller areas. So anywhere you don't see pink that you want selected, you need to draw on. And anywhere that you see pink where you don't want it selected, you need to use the eraser on, right? Again, this technique is not a lot different than just simply erasing the background, but the benefit is that you can use it in conjunction with the magic wand, just like I did. So I used the magic wand to get a lot of stuff picked quickly, and then I was able to add to that selection by going to the pencil or subtract from that selection by going to the minus. And then when you're done, you can go back to magic wand and see what you got. And it looks like I still got some stuff to get rid of. This part by the hand and this part by her shoulder. So I'm going to go to the subtract here. And I didn't realize that. Apparently, I didn't see that. So I don't know. Didn't realize there was stuff picked over here. So I'm going to very carefully get rid of that. And then go back and see what we got again. Click on the magic wand. Still looks like I got some stuff under her arm here. Back to the eraser. So, you know, it's a little bit of trouble. It is, but whatever. You could just erase these bits and pieces afterward, which is what I think I'm going to do. So now that the selection is pretty much good, what I'm going to do is go to select inverse and hit delete. And see what we got here, you know. So I could clean this up a little bit. Oh, looks like I missed some in there. So that's, you know, that's the handicap of using the magic wand. Again, and I'll do this from scratch. You could just go around with the eraser and get rid of it all, which is not a bad way to do this. So just the old-fashioned way, just taking the lasso here, essentially cropping out the bulk of it, you know, like this. And then just here going select inverse, hit delete, and then coming in with the eraser, just the standard eraser, and getting rid of what you don't need. So uh, either way, either way, uh, they have their advantages and disadvantages. The the disadvantage for this one is going to be erasing around her fingers, right? So that's pretty tight quarters there, and you may find that that's difficult. Advantage right here, these long, smooth areas uh, the like what I'm doing right now, it's pretty easy because it's pretty easy to just drag your pencil along and clean off the edges on areas like this, like our arm here is really easy to do. But again, getting in to her fingers is going to be more challenging with this eraser method. You may be able to combine them like this though. So here's another technique you can apply. Okay, so I'm going to take the magic wand and do like a local selection here and see if I can't get that without getting her fingers picked. So I'm going to make the tolerance a little tighter and come in here and just grab bits and pieces, hitting the delete button each time and see if I can't just, pick out this stuff from around her hand, and up here, just kind of very carefully using the magic wand to to uh, to remove material real selectively. So I'm just hitting the delete key each time. And that is kind of helping me get into these areas. And then I'll go back and clean this up with the eraser. So did that help? A little bit, a little bit. It definitely got into the fingers there. So what I'll do now, again, is take my eraser tool and go back here and just kind of clean up what the magic wand selection missed. Around her hair, I'm going to use the soft eraser. So I'm going to come in and do that. I'm going to, right now, shrink down to a smaller eraser so I can get into these tighter areas. And guys, it's worth putting your time in. This is not the animal, hybrid animal, or just goofing around. We are trying to make this look realistic. So if there is any indication of an alternate background, it is going to be really obvious to anyone looking at it that, hey, oh, that was cropped out, you know, that was cropped out. It's photoshopped because I can tell that there's some of the old background behind it. So if you're getting that effect, then it's kind of a giveaway. So you really want to be careful about getting rid of everything that you need to. Carefully coming in here, cleaning up. I should be able to magic wand that. Yeah, there we go. And oh man, these hands are tricky. Look at this guy. That's going to be a little trouble too, huh? See if I can't pick that better. Back to the eraser. You can zoom in. I'm going to zoom in to make it a little easier. The more zoomed in you are, the less careful you have to be because you can see what you're doing better, I guess. Just make this thing one. This is a 1 pixel eraser, a single pixel width. Can't get any smaller than that. So, so that's what you got to do. Sometimes that's what you got to do to really make it look real. Maybe 2 pixels, 3 pixels. Okay. All right. We're getting close here. Bump this up a little bit. Get the edge of her arm. So yeah, so for her face, I'm gonna just do the same thing. That's her eyelash, I think. Just make this smaller. All right. Looking good. Looking pretty good, I think. So the last thing I want to do is clean up her hair, get the little debris off, floating debris off the back. I'm going to use the soft eraser on this. So I'm going to go to my brush tool and choose soft eraser. And there we go. Kind of try to blend this in a little bit so it doesn't look quite so harsh. Don't want those digital edges, you know, pixel edges. Get rid of this person in the background. Hard to say how much to keep. Something like this. So the soft eraser is definitely helpful for softening up any edge that you might have that looks too pixelated. I'm going to zoom out now. And not bad. You know, the only thing that really looks bad here is her hand needs some work. I'm going to zoom in on that a little bit because the color that came through is just kind of crazy. So I'm going to do a selection around that. All right, the lasso selection. I'm just drawing that a selection around her hand, and I want to change the color of her hand. Let's see if I can do that. I'm going to go to filter, hue. That's the second one down, hue. You know, that's the one that changes color. And I'm going to attempt to change the color of this hand to something a little more realistic. So it was too red, right? I just want it to be a little more skin color. And what I do here is take the saturation out of it, just really reduce the saturation. And let's see what that looks like. No, it's a little too dark. It's tough. So I'm going back to filter, hue. I think I took too much saturation out of it. So I'm going to drop it down just a little bit here. Maybe brighten it up a little too. Rather than mess with the hue, I think I'm just going to do saturation and brightness. So the saturation kind of drops the color and the brightness makes it a little brighter. Hit OK, Control D. It's looking better. I could just get rid of her hand. I don't even know that it's needed, to be honest. And that is definitely something you could consider. I think I might just do that because it really doesn't look good because the color is so off. And honestly, I don't know that anybody is going to call you on it because it could easily be that her hand is just behind her. So I think I'm going to leave it like that. I might need to get her fingers cleared out a little bit better, but let's see how she looks on the PV background. And she's doing all right. Doing all right. Yeah, the fingers could use a little more cleaning out there. So let me make that smaller and definitely get in here. Whoops. And get any darkness out from around her fingers. Because you saw how much that made it look like she did not belong in the picture. Okay, is that going to be better? It does look better. Still get a little bit out of there. Okay. So the next thing that we're going to do, the last thing I'm going to do today is change the brightness. So her layer, I'm also going to make her bigger. Her layer is bright and the background layer is not. So I either got to drop one and increase the other or vice versa. You know, I got to make these two a little closer together. So I can go to the back layer and then just go up to, you know, filter, again, hue, and then bump up the brightness on that to make the background a little brighter. Is that helping? Not so much. Let's go to levels. See if I can brighten it up with levels. Yeah, it helps a little bit. That definitely helped a little bit. So I'm using levels to bump up the brightness of the background. Okay. But then I'm going to go to her layer, Nia's layer, and I'm going to drop that one down. So kind of bring them together. So I'm going to go to filter and levels on that one, and then kind of bring that down, hit OK. There's still not quite there, but you understand how you could brighten one up and darken one and bring the two pictures level of exposure closer together. That's really what that is. It's an exposure issue. So on the background, I'm going to increase the saturation a bit to try to bring the colors up a little bit more and the brightness to get them a little closer. So I'm bumping up saturation and brightness on the background layer, and then on Nia's layer, the opposite. I'm going to take the same hue menu, and I'm going to drop the saturation down a little bit. So she's a little more washed out, and drop the brightness down a little bit and hit OK. And now you can see that the two are starting to look a lot alike. And if I zoom out a little bit, not zoom in, zoom out, you can see that we're getting close here. Maybe make her a little bit bigger. I don't know, maybe not. Just off there a little bit. Okay, so I think I'm pretty happy with that.